Assalamualaikum. Welcome to Member Spotlight by Allied Muslim Chamber of Business. MCOB is a membership-based social enterprise with a mission to create a thriving Muslim business community. It's the power of collective wisdom, continued learning, and thought leadership brought together for Muslims by Muslims. Our core belief is that business leaders thrive when they have access to a supportive community of peers who challenge and inspire each other. Today, we have with us our member, Arishaa Khan. Arisha is a passionate humanitarian leader and the executive director of OBAT Headburst, a nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering displaced and marginalized communities in Bangladesh. As a woman in leadership with over a decade of experience in international development nonprofit management, Arisha brings a unique lens to her work, shaped by service, advocacy, and a commitment to equity. Passionate about philanthropy, sustainable development, and representing the underrepresented. Welcome, Arisha.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here and part of this journey. Looking forward to learning more about you. So, if you can share your story, how you came to where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Um, the story of the work that I'm in, the line of work that I'm in, especially starts at a very young age. As we all know, certain values and certain qualities of a human being is established at a very small age, thanks to our parents. So, growing up in the middle of America, in Indiana, I had two wonderful parents. I have two wonderful parents who continue to instill values of humanitarian support, of service to others. This is not only linked in our religion, but this is also something that's very important to my family. Fast forward a few more years, I was at Indiana University completing my bachelor's. I was actually one of the first group of five people to graduate with my undergraduate degree in philanthropic studies. Fast forward a little bit more, and I was able to complete my master's from Columbia University in New York City with my MPA, Master's in Public Administration Development Practice. Throughout the journey of education, I'm starting with education here because this is really where a lot of the values were instilled within me. Um, my parents also launched an initiative called OBAT Helpers when I was very young. This is before the college and grad school education journey begins. So OBAT was founded by my parents. My father founded the organization. The name is very near and dear to our heart. It is actually stands for the first the first letters of the names of my grandparents. So Ubaidullah, Bilqis, Amanullah, Tayyiba, may Allah be pleased with them. Um, so is a family initiative. It started when I was very young and I had no idea it would shape who I am and what I'd end up doing in my future life. So alhamdulillah, my story begins at a very young age, and every single step was helping me define myself and helping me achieve something that I didn't know was waiting for me in the future. Alhamdulillah, today I serve as the executive director of OBAT Helpers. Along the journey, I had wonderful opportunities to work with UN agencies, with different networks, representing different minority groups, marginalized individuals, which all brought me to this opportunity to serve OBAT Helpers.
All right. So, it's an interesting story how it came about. If you can share a little bit more about how OBAT was established and what specifically OBAT is doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So the year is 2004. My mother read an article actually in the Islamic Horizons magazine, which some of you may know, and it detailed the account of people still residing in Bangladesh. These are people who were left stranded. At the time, there's certain titles associated with them, but today we call them the Urdu-speaking minority who live across Bangladesh. These are people who were not able to be repatriated to Pakistan during the time of war in 1971. So my mom brought home the article, and it really hit a very sensitive spot in our family. We ourselves have history in East Pakistan. Both of my parents were born there. It's something that was very near and dear. We consider ourselves Pakistani, and even on the passports, it doesn't say East Pakistan anymore because there is no East Pakistan. So everyone's identity is Pakistan. However, in our heart of hearts, we knew that these people still residing in camps today was a problem. We knew that there's something here that is a gap. These people are not being served. These people are left forgotten by anyone and everyone, by countries, by nations. And because they are considered internally displaced people, they also had no recognition within the UN system. There is no title or rights or any sort of importance given to them. They're essentially forgotten unless someone decides to remember them. So when we began, my father decided to pay a visit, and he hadn't been back to Bangladesh since the time of war. So for him to return back, I think this was a phenomenal feat, and may God bless him for just picking up his bag and saying, you know what, I'm going to pay a visit, and I'm going to see with my own eyes the and verify that this is still a problem. And at the time, his intention was to adopt one family. So I remember when he was leaving, we had a family discussion, and he let us know what's going on, and that, you know, we're going to come back and maybe have some individuals that we're going to be supporting through education, through healthcare support. And the intention was to adopt one family. Again, this year is 2004. And alhamdulillah, my father went and he came back. And my question to him was, show me the pictures. Like, who did we adopt? Like, who or who are we supporting? What are their faces? How many children do they have? And the answer was we didn't adopt one family. We're not supporting one family. We're supporting the whole community. So that first trip, my father decided to actually make private bathrooms for women because those did not exist. And he had just the perfect amount of money that he was going to be adopting a family with, that he put toward making private shelters, private bathrooms for women. So it was a beautiful journey. My father is an engineer by profession, by education. He likes to say he has no business in the humanitarian world, but when God has a plan for you, he takes you to it. So fast forward a couple more months, and we became a 501c3 that year and launched with the help of our family and our friends. Our community in Indiana is so near and dear to us, and many of them, and we consider them as well, many of them consider themselves also the founding members, and that's what they are, because we started as a community initiative. Today, we are just above $2.2 million annual operation, and this is something that helps us continue expanding. We are across 8 cities in Bangladesh. We have multiple operations, multiple systems we do. We not only function within the education, healthcare, livelihood, women's empowerment, but we also focus heavily on water, sanitation, and digital education, just ICT education in general. Coming back to water and sanitation, these people do reside in the same camps that the Red Cross set up for them in 1970. So you can imagine the infrastructure related, especially when it comes to sanitation, is challenging. So that's one of the big things that we do. But the main focus is transforming people from liabilities into assets for not only their community, but their country. We find that as we continue doing more and more work, right now we have nearly 100,000 students who have benefited from our education programs, and we have so many more in the pipeline coming after them. We have more than 10,000 women who have been empowered by our women's empowerment programs, our financial empowerment programs. Alhamdulillah, we serve more than 150,000 people who receive our treatments from our clinics. And of course, water access is an untapped area. Right now, our estimates are more than 300,000 people have access to clean water because of our projects. Since 2017, we also began in the Rohingya refugee camps. You all may remember the terrible uprising again of the violence against the Rohingya. So in this regard, in 2017, we were on the ground. We were ready to go. This was something that we're so grateful that we had the donors to support us, and we had the infrastructure in Bangladesh to be there on the ground as they're flooding into the country. And this is something I'll forever be grateful for, that we were able to support. And so we do many of the same projects that we do in the Urdu-speaking camps, we do for the Rohingya camps. And then in general, because we've been on the ground for 20 years, we are there to support the vulnerable. There's no sort of identity check that we do. There's no, who are you? Do you really need help? Where do you come from? It's that if you come to our door, we will do our best to help you. So, alhamdulillah, back to the initial principles that I talked about, service to others. OBAT operates in that same manner. My father's engineering background really came in and making sure that we stay transparent, making sure that we stay very accurate with our data. And we do a very systematic rollout of our programs to make sure that we are not only doing what we're capable of doing very successfully, but we're responding to the community's needs.
All right. That's a great story, and how one article inspired 20 years ago to become the organization that you are today.
It's truly incredible. And none of this is by coincidence. This is clearly by plan,
Yeah,
divine
this
plan.
is definitely this was Anda's plan, and how everything came about. Uh, Share with us a little bit more about yourself. You were like your parents started this organization, and now you are running it.
Yes.
Share with us a little bit about yourself and what your plans are for this organization.
I love it. Love it. Thank you so much. So I joined OBAT in an official capacity about 3 years ago. However, as I shared day one, this has been something that's been a passion project. Many of my professors throughout my schooling have heard and seen me write about and speak about countless case studies relating to OBAT and the people we serve. And so now it's my opportunity to be officially in the capacity to make a difference. So in this capacity, alhamdulillah, I was really proud to see OBAT through our 20th year. So like I said, last year we turned 20. This is a major milestone for us. This is also a moment of recalibration. This is a moment of, really, how do we make sure we have that growth mindset and what is next for OBAT? So there's a lot of change management that's happened. Alhamdulillah, during my time here, I was able to transfer our headquarters from Indianapolis, Indiana to the Washington, D.C. area. This is something that came with the support of our board and the advice of our board and advisors, to set ourselves up for increased partnerships, increased grants, increased visibility, for the people we serve, for the work we do. So this transition from the Midwest to the East Coast has been tremendous, and I've been so grateful to see us through this. Additionally, we've had a beautiful organic growth of our organization, going from a small-sized nonprofit and really setting ourselves up to be a mid to large size nonprofit. So you asked me what's my goal for the future. Our bottom line is our beneficiaries. It's not the money, it's the beneficiaries. How do we ensure that every student who comes through has the opportunity of education? How do we make sure there are scholarships available to each student who is who has worked incredibly hard, has the merit to continue on? How do we make sure that these students who value education so deeply have the right resources? The women who are heads of households, many of them operating the households on their own, how do we make sure they have the financial empowerment to keep improving their life and the lives of their families and their communities? So the bottom line is our beneficiaries. And the real big thing here in our future is how do we make our programming as sustainable as possible? In the time that I've been here, we've also launched our own implementing agency within Bangladesh. We've been so grateful to work with incredible implementing agencies within the country. And now we can proudly say that we work directly with OBAT Helpers BD, OBAT Helpers Bangladesh. So that's also a change that we brought on in the last couple of years. There's a lot of transparency that has brought, a lot of increased workflows, increased output, having our own implementing agency. So we want to keep expanding and localizing the service and the work we do. That's an important buzzword within the development world, within the USAID world, which we can hit on that later. But localizing our support is just increasing the sustainability of it. We can continue to financially support from the US, from the Western countries, but anytime a program or operation is localized, where there is funding at a local level, advocacy at a local level, staff capacity at a local level, that just increases the likelihood of this being a sustainable initiative. And that is our goal. And alhamdulillah, I'm really glad to report that we are more than well on our way to becoming a very sustainable institute, which just opens up the plan for future service, right? So if we find that we become very sustainable in Bangladesh, I would love to see OBAT in the capacity of serving other displaced people, whether it's in the region, whether it's in the country. Displacement is an issue we don't talk about often enough. And as I said earlier, there is little to no recognition at a global platform of displaced people. They can often go forgotten, not only within the country, but globally. So we want to keep focusing on the people, on focusing on the forgotten. That's the initiative that we began with. And inshallah, if God wills, we want to keep finding more populations that are displaced and continue putting our proven programming into these communities as well to uplift them from liabilities to assets.
Okay. You mentioned about the people that you are serving, and you provided some numbers over the students, the other people in the community. How much staff do you have to support all this operation?
Yeah, I love this question. Excuse me. We have more than 400 staff at a local level. We have them across 8 different cities, and this is a growing number. With our own implementing agency, this is just giving us more leeway to get the right talent in the right places. So more than 400 people serve us at a local level. And what's really great about our staffing, if I could take a second here, this is where the magic happens. Bangladesh is we always point to Bangladesh, our team members in Bangladesh, our leadership in Bangladesh is really where the magic happens. They are the ones that carry out the mission. I can do anything from here, but if there is any sort of fault on or miscommunication in the Bangladesh side, in the countryside, the execution won't happen the way it's planned. And so full credit goes to our staff in Bangladesh, many of which actually come from the camps themselves. So this is something that's really important to us. When we talk about empowerment, we don't just talk about it externally. We talk about it internally, and we make those changes internally. We have the staff hired from within the camps. People the community already respects, the community already trusts. So it's not another individual coming in from outside, opening these programs and advocating. It's people from their own community, and that has made a tremendous difference.
All right. Yeah, so it's definitely you are doing God's work. And inshallah, more power to you and for the growth of this organization. If you can, last, if you can share a little bit about yourself, for other members to know you and anything personal that you want to share.
Yeah, of course. Um, my husband and I, we have a rambunctious 2-year-old. I think it's a beautiful work-life balance that I maintain of being able to run this nonprofit, this passion work that I have, and also being able to be a mother to Isa. And I'm so grateful for the support from my husband, my family, to allow me to have that beautiful split time. But I think what's really important here of personal, this work-life balance we talk about, is that when you're passion driven, a lot of things just kind of make time for themselves. So I think just a note here of really just following your passion and understanding that if you are to give your time 8 to 12 hours a day, 6 to 12 hours a day, however people's workloads look, if you're spending that much time in a task, better to make it something you're really passionate about, something you really care about. So that work-life balance just ends up working itself out. And of course, the support of your family, of your circle, of your trusted people really makes a big impact. I know recently we've had a lot of changes living in the DC area. There have been a lot of governmental changes, a lot of impact with USAID. That's just helped us become a little bit more open to partnerships, to working together, connecting forces with other nonprofits that do similar work. I think that's also something that I love. I passionately love spending my time on, this partnership, this collaboration. and having that work-life balance really helps you be able to manage those things really well, while also giving time and attention to the people most important to you. Because this started as a family initiative, we often call our beneficiaries the OBAT family. We call the students in our schools part of the OBAT family. We call our board members who are stateside part of the OBAT family. So my work-life balance is really fun because I have family on both sides of the puzzle, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
All right. And last but not the least, as you are a nonprofit organization, if you have to make one ask of the viewers, what would that be?
Yeah, of course. Um, for us, as you've heard throughout this, is advocacy is so important. So understanding the story, realizing that these people exist is the first step towards inviting members in, inviting donors in. I would love people to get educated on not only the history but our work. I would be glad to direct you to our website. I see it scrolling across the bottom. Everything that you need is found there. Advocacy and welcoming folks in, welcoming questions. There's a lot of questions often linked with the work that we do of why we do it, what's our intention, this and that. I welcome those questions, and I think advocacy really is important. And the next thing, something that's really near and dear to my heart, is um, working with our youth in higher education. I started the I started this talk with my journey of my own education track,
Mhm.
and I think I'll close with that of supporting these students through scholarships, through everything. And we offer everything. We offer very clear packages of whatever your budget may be. How can you support one or 100 students go through different levels of education? I think I would invite every single person listening to please, educate yourself in what's going on, who is it that we serve, and I invite you all to support our education programs. There's nothing more important than that, especially when we talk about the long-term sustainability and the advocacy and uplifting them from liabilities into assets.
All right. Thank you so much, Arisha, for being here today and being our esteemed member. I really appreciate your participation in this journey.
Thank you, Kashifai. Jazakallah khair.
Yeah, thank you. Assalamualaikum.